If you need some low-carb dinner ideas, you are in the right place. Because maybe you're staying away from carbs, or you might just want to cut back a little bit. Hey y'all, I'm Valerie, and welcome to my kitchen. In today's video, I'm sharing 6 low-carb dinner recipes, and I'm telling you, even if you're not low-carb, these are delicious. Okay y'all, let's get started. This low-carb Zuppa Toscana soup has got to be one of my new favorites. You'll need 1 pound of Italian sausage. I'm using the sweet ground because that's what I had on hand. Just make sure you don't leave the paper in there. And now I'm just breaking that up and I'm gonna let it cook until it's completely cooked through. I'm using my meat chopper here, but it doesn't work quite as well with sausage. It just sticks to it, but I guess sausage just sticks to everything. When that's completely cooked through, I'm going to remove it to a paper towel lined plate and set it aside. I could have just left that pan like it was, but I guess I just felt like I needed to wipe it out. Now I'm adding in 6 slices of bacon that I cut into small pieces. The recipe only called for 3 slices, but we love bacon, so I thought it needed a little extra. Now I'm just going ahead and adding in half a diced onion. I might as well cook it with the bacon. You're just going to let this cook until that bacon is cooked through and that onion is tender. By the way, have you ever tried the Zuppa Toscana soup from the Olive Garden? It's my aunt's absolute favorite, and she's doing low carb, so we had to find a low carb version, and this one was perfect. When that bacon was almost done, I added in 3 cloves of minced garlic. And I did not use the jarred stuff this time. I was so proud of myself. I let that cook for about a minute or so, then I added in 5 cups of a low sodium chicken broth, along with 1 small head of cauliflower that I chopped into small tiny pieces. Now you can go ahead and season this with salt and pepper to taste, but remember, you can always season it later on at the end. It's better to not add enough than to add too much to start with. I did a half a teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Now you're going to simmer this for about 15 to 20 minutes until that cauliflower is tender. And once it's fork tender, you can go ahead and add in that sausage we cooked up a little bit ago, along with 3 cups of fresh kale. And I went a little overboard there. That's why you see me pulling it back out. And making a huge mess in the process. I'm trying to give it a good stir, but this kale is not making it easy. I've got it on a gentle boil here, and that kale will wilt down quick. It's kind of like spinach. After you cook it, you're like, where did it all go? Now I'm adding in 1 cup of heavy cream. And in case you missed anything, I'll have the recipes linked or typed out in the description box below. I'll let that cook for just a few more minutes just to make sure everything was heated through. And this is where you could go ahead and give it a taste and add any more seasonings you like here. The recipe called for Parmesan cheese to add as a topping, but I figured I would add it right on into the soup, so I added about 1/3 cup. Then you're going to give it a good stir, and this soup is ready to serve. So I made this for my aunt, well, my aunt and myself. She's the one you need to thank for all these low carb recipes. But my husband had to try it. But he's not big on soup, but he loved this one. Craig is not low carb, but he thought this was delicious. This healthy cabbage casserole is a staple for me. I make it very often. I'm starting out by adding 1 pound of ground turkey to a large skillet, along with 1 small diced onion and 1 diced green bell pepper. And here's a little tip. Anytime you're using turkey in the place of ground beef, I always add in a little beef bouillon. I like using the Better Than Bouillon paste, but I didn't have any, so since I was using these cubes, I dissolved 2 cubes into about 2 tablespoons of water. Then I added it right on into the skillet there. Now you're just going to break this up and let it cook until that turkey is completely cooked through. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, I would really appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up. It just lets me know you want to see more videos like this. When that turkey is cooked through, you can remove it to a separate plate and set it aside. Now to that same skillet, I'm adding in 10 cups of chopped cabbage. And I figured I would give y'all a cup measurement instead of just saying a head of cabbage because they come in all sizes. I'm also going to add in half a cup of water and let it saute until that cabbage is tender. I went ahead and added a little Badia complete. Do y'all like cabbage? I actually eat so much cabbage, I'm surprised I haven't turned into a cabbage yet. Okay, now I'm going to add a little more seasoning here. I added 2 teaspoons of minced garlic, some paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, and black pepper, but you can season this up however you like. Now just give it all a really good stir and let it continue to saute until that cabbage is tender. Now I'm adding in one 15-ounce can of tomato sauce, along with 2 cans of the Italian-style petite diced tomatoes. I did not drain those, but if you want to, you can. I like to serve this over cauliflower rice. And I like it to where it has a little more liquid or sauce. That way it kind of runs down into that cauliflower rice. I also added 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce and the ground turkey, onion, and peppers we cooked up just a little bit ago. Now this is a lot here, so just try your best to stir it all together. But if you're anything like me, you're guaranteed to make a pretty big mess. When you get all that stirred together, you can go ahead and remove it from the heat and head over to the counter. I'm making this in a 9x13 baking dish, and you're just going to pour that casserole right on in. This pan is very hot, so just try to be careful. I forget sometimes that the little handle on the other side of this one is not covered, so I have to always remember to wear my oven mitt. This is a Pioneer Woman pan, and I'm pretty sure on the newer ones, that little piece is covered now. Okay, and you're just going to spread that out into an even layer. Now, if you want, you can add on as much cheese as you want here, but I like it just how it is. I covered this tightly with foil and put it in the oven to bake at 350 for about 45 minutes. But I did remove that foil about halfway through. I like to serve this over cauliflower rice, and I like it just how it is. But my husband, however, I have to top his with cheese. So since I didn't add it before I baked it, I just topped his with cheese after I plated it up. This is so good, and it's really kind of like a meal prep meal for me. I can make it and eat on it for several days. I eat on it until it's gone. And to make it easier, I just get the microwavable bags of cauliflower rice, and my favorite is the garlic and herb. These sheet pan chicken fajitas are another one you can meal prep for the week. I'm starting out with a very large bowl. I've sliced all these up here. It's a red, green, and orange bell pepper, along with 1 sliced onion. I'm also adding 3 boneless, skinless chicken breasts that I sliced into thin strips. I also added a couple tablespoons of oil and a packet of fajita seasoning. I made my own this time, and I love seasoning, so I added a little extra. Now you're going to mix this all together, and it's not the easiest thing to stir, I have to say, but these tongs really help out. I just kind of flip everything over. Now you're going to grab you a big sheet pan and pour it all in, or dump it in and spread it all out. This does make a lot, but you can always cut the recipe in half and make it in a 9x13. And to add some extra flavor and to kind of make it look pretty, I sliced up a lime and added that on top. Now this goes into the oven to bake at 425 for about 20 minutes, or until that chicken is cooked through. Y'all, I could just stand here and eat this straight out of the pan. And I do actually. I usually serve this on some low-carb tortillas, but I was on a cauliflower kick here lately. So I just served it with that, and I topped it with sour cream and some shredded cheddar cheese. This is so good, and it's something that I never get tired of. And just in case you're interested, these are the low-carb tortillas I use. I love them, and I get them from Walmart. They also have them in tomato flavored and spinach. I also like the Joseph Lavash bread, that's low carb too. This Philly cheesesteak casserole was a new one for me. I started out in a large skillet. I'm just browning up 1.5 pounds of ground beef. I also added 2 diced green bell peppers and 1 diced onion. By the way, if you're new, I would really love to have you here. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. That way you get notified of all my future videos. Okay, I'm just going to break that up and let it cook until that ground beef is completely cooked through. Now this is way too much grease for a little paper towel to soak up, so I'm going to remove it from the heat, drain the grease, and return it to the stovetop. Next, I'm adding in 2 teaspoons of minced garlic, along with 3/4 teaspoon of salt and some black garlic. My friend Sammy Mae has me hooked on this stuff, and I found it at Walmart. I toss that around and let it cook for about a minute or so until that garlic becomes fragrant. It won't take long, you just don't want the garlic to burn. Now we're going to remove this from the heat and head over to the counter. In a small bowl here, I have 4 beaten eggs. And to that, I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of heavy cream. And I'm not sure why I was mixing it here, because I still got something else to add. Oh well, I guess a little extra mixing ain't gonna hurt anything. Now I'm adding in 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce, and I decided to add a little extra. Okay, now you can go ahead and give this a really good whisk. I'm making this in a 9x13 baking dish, and I probably should have sprayed it with some nonstick spray, but I did not. Now you're just going to pour in that ground beef and pepper mixture. So I want y'all to do me a favor and tell me in the comments below, what is your absolute favorite low carb dinner? Then everybody here can read the comments and get some new ideas. I need more ideas too, so that'll help us all out. Okay, you're just going to spread that out into an even layer. Then on top of that ground beef mixture, you're going to pour over that egg mixture. This will just kind of help to hold everything together. And it said to just drizzle it on top, but I figured I would just might as well mix it all together. So when you get that all mixed together, you're going to spread it out into an even layer because we're about to top it with some cheese. The recipe calls for 8 slices of provolone cheese, but there's 12 slices in this pack, so I figured I might as well just add them all. Just try to space them out on top there just to make sure everything gets covered. And you can see I was just trying to slide everything around there just to make sure I got everything covered. Now this goes into the oven to bake, uncovered, at 350 for 35 to 45 minutes. Or until the eggs are set, the cheese is melted, and everything is completely cooked through. This was absolutely delicious. It was easy to make, and it would be perfect to serve with a side salad. The only thing I would do different with this next time is maybe add a 1/2 cup or so of mozzarella cheese into that meat mixture along with the eggs and stir it all together. That way it would hold together a little better. Other than that, it was so good, and I'll definitely be making it again. Okay, this next one comes from my Aunt Debbie, and she calls it cracked chicken chili, but it's more like a stew to me, so I called it cracked chicken chili stew. And she did not give me directions, only the ingredients, so this is how I did it. In a large pot, I added 1 tablespoon of butter along with 1 small diced onion. I let that cook until the onion was tender. Then I added in 1 bag of angel hair coleslaw. But if you'd rather, you could just shred up half of a head of cabbage and add that in. I'm just mixing that up and letting that cabbage saute for just a couple minutes. Now I'm pouring in 2 cups of low sodium chicken broth. Now mix that all together and go ahead and bring it to a simmer. Next, I'm adding in 1 can of Rotel, and that was undrained. I'm also adding 1 packet of ranch seasoning. My aunt likes to add a little extra seasoning to this. She adds 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and 1 tablespoon of chili powder. Now you're going to give all that a really good stir. And y'all have to let me know in the comments below, what's your favorite low-carb veggie? So I guess you can tell now that my favorite is cabbage. So I brought this up to a boil, then I dropped it down to a simmer, and I let it simmer until that cabbage was tender, which didn't take long at all. Now you're going to add in 1 block of softened cream cheese. And if you forget to let it sit out and soften, it's okay. Just pop it in the microwave for about 20 or 30 seconds and that'll do the trick. Then whisk it until it's well combined. I brought this to a low boil and then I added in 1 bag of frozen riced cauliflower. I should have let that sit out and thaw out for just a little bit. I could have even put it in the microwave, but I didn't. I think my aunt does microwave hers and then add it in, that way it's already cooked. I'm also adding 1 cup of cooked chopped bacon and 3 cups of cooked shredded chicken. Now, do y'all see here where it's kind of looking more like a stew? I told her, I said, Aunt Debbie, we cannot be calling this cracked chicken chili when it's got all this cabbage and cauliflower in here. She didn't care what I called it though, she just calls it good. And to finish it off, I'm adding a big old cup full of shredded cheddar cheese. Now stir it all together and that is all there is to it. This came together super fast. You can really customize this to the way you think you'll like it. You can add things, you can take some things away. Just make it your own. This was the very first time I've ever had this though, and I thought it was so good. She had been telling me about it for a while now, and I was finally like, okay, I gotta make it. I topped mine with a little sour cream and shredded cheddar cheese, but it totally didn't need it. I give it a 10 out of 10. This cashew chicken stir fry is great to make when you want something a little different. In a large skillet, I've got 1 tablespoon of oil, along with 1 pound of boneless skinless chicken that I cut into bite-sized pieces. You can season it up however you like, but I added a little Badia complete. When that chicken is completely cooked through, you can remove it to a separate plate and set it aside. Now I'm adding in 2 cups of broccoli florets, along with a diced red and yellow bell pepper. It only called for 1, but my red bell pepper was a little small, so I added in that yellow one too. Next, you're going to add in half a cup of shredded carrots, and y'all, I shredded those with my cheese grater. That thing does everything. And you can totally leave these out, but I added 1 cup of sugar snap peas. And if you need to, you can add another tablespoon of oil, but while that's sauteing up, over to the counter, I'm going to make up a quick sauce. In a small bowl, I added 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 3 tablespoons of peanut butter. I just did a big old scoop. Now the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of honey. I'm actually doing 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, but you could also just do 2 tablespoons of the Swerve sugar substitute. And you don't want to skip out on the sesame oil. I added 1 teaspoon of that, along with half a teaspoon of ginger. Now whisk that until it's all well combined. And this may take you a minute or 2 just because of that peanut butter, but keep stirring, you'll get it. I should have added that soy sauce in last and just mixed it a little at a time, but I got it done. And when you get it all mixed together, our veggies should be done now, so we're going to head back over to the stovetop. I'm adding back in that cooked chicken we cooked in the beginning. And after you get all that added in, I'm going to go ahead and add in 1 teaspoon of minced garlic and let that saute for just a minute or two, just until that garlic becomes fragrant. I love this recipe because it only takes 20 minutes to make, and it's perfect for those busy weeknights. And this can't be called cashew chicken without the cashews, so I sprinkled over about 1/3 cup of chopped cashews, along with that sauce that we made up just a little bit ago. This sauce just really sends this recipe over the top. And if you're not a huge fan of peanut butter, you can definitely cut it in half and it'll still be delicious. But it does add just the right amount of flavor to this. This is delicious, and it's perfect for a night when you don't want a lot of carbs, you know, nothing like pasta or rice. This is just a little lighter, it has a lot of flavor, and it's just so good. And for a long time, I was really skeptical of the peanut sauce, but after I tried it, I'm a huge fan now. Even my husband loved it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. You may also like these. Don't forget to subscribe down below for more easy recipes, and I will see you in the next one. And action! If you need some low carb dinner ideas, you are in the right place. Because my Aunt Debbie is low carb and... Okay, Oreo, sit down. Sit. Are you not gonna behave? Sit down. Sit down. I'm gonna have to put you outside. All right, come on. Okay. And action. Oh, that's bright. Okay. Now I feel like I'm not ready, but I guess I am. I guess I'm ready. And I'm gonna do it one more time. If you need some low carb dinner ideas, nope. And then I'll do it one more time just in case. And I'm telling you, even if you're not doing low carb, these are delicious. That's right. Perfect.